Remember him? That cheerful, red-haired kid who made America smile every single week on the Andy Griffith Show. To millions of viewers, Ron Howard was the sweet, polite little Opie Taylor, the perfect TV son growing up in the peaceful town of Mayberry. Everything about the show felt warm, safe, and comforting. It looked like one big happy family on screen. But behind the cameras, things weren't always so wholesome. Because while audiences saw love between Opie and Aunt Bee, real life told a very different story. In fact, Ron Howard quietly struggled with someone many fans considered the kindest soul on television. Frances Bavier. Yes, Aunt Bee herself. At just 5 years old, Ron stepped onto the set of what would become one of the most beloved sitcoms in television history. Acting alongside legends like Andy Griffith and Don Knotts, young Ron was suddenly living in a world that millions would grow to adore. But while Griffith was warm and fatherly off-screen just as he was on it, Frances Bavier was something else entirely. She was intensely private, extremely serious, and often emotionally distant. Cast members would later reveal that Bavier didn't socialize much with the rest of the team. She kept to herself, avoided casual conversations, and approached every scene with strict professionalism. To a young child like Ron, who was still learning how the industry worked, her rigid personality felt cold, even intimidating. And then there were the scenes themselves. One moment that stuck with Howard for years involved a simple food prop: pickles. Ron absolutely hated them. But for one particular episode, he had to eat them again and again, take after take, while filming alongside Bavier. He couldn't complain. He couldn't walk off set. He was just a kid doing his job. So he smiled for the camera, forced the pickles down, and kept going. That moment became more than just an uncomfortable memory. It was an early lesson. One that taught him that what audiences see on screen isn't always what exists behind it. Because while Mayberry represented warmth and unity, the reality on set sometimes felt tense and emotionally distant. And that quiet discomfort stayed with Ron long after the show ended. Years later, the same boy would grow into one of Hollywood's most respected directors, stepping behind the camera to create films like A Beautiful Mind, earning Academy Awards and worldwide acclaim. But despite the success, despite the fame, those early experiences never fully faded. They reminded him that even the sweetest television families are made up of real people, with real personalities, real boundaries, and sometimes real conflicts. Because in Hollywood, just like in life, the most convincing smiles are often the ones hiding the deepest tension.